If you are in a relationship where the person doesn't seem to love you back, this is likely because you are having Bonaparte Syndrome. It was the year 1795. The French Revolution had started 6 years earlier, and things were returning to normal in France. Young people were having wild parties and endless festivals. But there was a man who had no time for such trivialities. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. Bonaparte was an ambitious soldier. He had been admitted to the École Militaire in Paris in 1784. He had been commissioned a second lieutenant in Lafayette Artillery Regiment in September of 1785, and he would be named the commander of the French forces in April of 1796. So this 26-year-old man had no time for anything in life other than war. But a woman would change that. Her name is Josephine de Beauharnais. In autumn of 1975, when Napoleon Bonaparte met Josephine, he was lost with her presence. Yes, Josephine was beautiful. But two more things made the almighty Bonaparte become helplessly captivated by her. First, this 32-year-old widow has so many influential people who ran after her. And second, Beauharnais presented herself as a scarce commodity to Napoleon. For example, Napoleon might have written her 3 letters before she replied once. Napoleon wanted her presence always, but she acted as though she needed him only a few times. In the next few months, Bonaparte would run after Beauharnais and think about her day and night. In January of 1796, Napoleon Bonaparte proposed to Beauharnais, and they were married on 9th March 1796.
The rings, please.
Oh God! No! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my God!
But even after they married, Napoleon was still the slave of their romantic relationship. While away, he wrote most letters, expressed deeper emotions, and you get it, he ran after her while she seemed to run away. This happens in romantic relationships all the time. One person is willing to sacrifice everything it takes to make the relationship work, while the other person doesn't seem to care. The question we seek to answer in this video is why? Why doesn't the person you love you back? To answer this question, I'd like to refer to the 1938 book of the American sociologist Willard Waller. In the year 1938, the sociologist Willard Waller published his book, The Family, A Dynamic Interpretation. It was in this book Willard Waller first used the term, the principle of least interest. Throughout his research, Waller found that power in a dating couple is rarely equally distributed between the two participants. One person, for a variety of possible reasons, will have more power in the relationship. What Waller found, however, is that the most power often go to the person who has the least interest in the relationship.
Connected with God, emulating the divine Holy Trinity.
The first major study to test the principle came in 1972 in a paper by Kenneth S. Linger, Alfred D. Clark, and Russell R. Dines. In the paper, the researchers interviewed 113 randomly selected college students that were enrolled in sociology courses to find out if a difference in emotional involvement existed in relationships and whether or not the level of involvement was affected by how the person was raised. The study confirmed that there was a difference in involvement between how you were raised and how involved in a relationship you were. Furthermore, the study showed a large gap in involvement between males and females, with the lowest female mean score 4 points higher than the highest male mean score. This showed that males as a group were significantly less interested in maintaining their relationship and could use the principle of least interest for their own benefit.
He's just a friend.
Yeah, nah, he ain't no friend.
You really want to do this
he
on
ain't
my
no
birthday?
friend. I don't give a damn about your birthday. You been cheating on me with a dude named Hubert, I'll be damned. Here go your stuff. It's already packed. Get your stuff and get the hell out my house.
But wait, this doesn't mean that all men are less interested in maintaining a relationship. For example, This study of 413 heterosexual American adults was conducted in 1994. In the study, 21% of respondents reported that the man is more emotionally involved, while 39% said it was the woman. But you get the point. The principle of least interest states that in any relationship, the person who has the most interest will have the least power. I'm coming back to that shortly. Now, let us make something clear. The principle of least interest doesn't only apply to romantic relationships alone. In every relationship, whether friendship, business, or life as a whole, oftentimes the more you run after something, the less you're likely to get it. And the less you care, the more you're likely to get it. In his 1997 book, The Portable Henry Rollins wrote, and I quote, "Sometimes it seems the harder you try to hold on to something or someone, the more it wants to get away. You feel like some kind of criminal for having wanted to be wanted." Alright, think about sleep. The day you seriously want to sleep is the day you won't be able to sleep.
There's a part of your nervous system called the fight or flight branch of the nervous system that when you are stressed or anxious gets sort of ramped up. Now, when you go to sleep, that part of the nervous system actually has to get shut off, and you can't fall asleep if it's turned on.
The English philosopher Alan Watts called this the backward law. So let's look at how this works in the business world. In his 1980 book, You Can Negotiate Anything, Herb Cohen told a story about a couple who went to buy a refrigerator. The story went something like this. As the man opened the refrigerator, the woman says, "Oh, this is for right-handed people, unlike the former one we bought." And the husband asks for the amount of electricity such refrigerator will be consuming. The wife again comments, "Oh, our neighbor's refrigerator consumes only 70% of that." In such a negotiation, because the couple had shown the least interest, they have more power than the salesman, and now the salesman could be forced to sell at his least possible price. Let's look at another example. Let's say I told you that I wanted to sell my house, and you suddenly have an interest in buying. But the day we were supposed to sign the document, I changed my mind. This is the house you've loved so much. This is the house you've taken your wife and children to come and see. This is the house everyone in your family is already dreaming of having. Now that I have the least interest, I suddenly have more power, and that can increase your desire for the house, which can force you to pay more than you should.
So, are you planning to buy a home? It just got more expensive. Sorry.
The principle of least interest can also work against you in so many other ways. Take, for example, on October 1st, 1951, Truman Capote published this novel. The Grass Harp was a successful work, so in 1952, Capote turned it into a play, and now he has become a successful writer. But then, a 24-year-old young artist by the name of Andy Warhol wanted to have a relationship with Truman Capote. He started sending him letters almost every day, and when Capote didn't reply to his letters, out of desperation, he went to meet his mother. And later, he started calling his house every day. Guess what happened next? Truman Capote rejected him and later said he seemed one of those hopeless people that you just know nothing is ever going to happen to. Here is the lesson. It doesn't matter how much you want a relationship with someone, the best way to get them is to behave as though you are as valuable as they are. Now, let's go back to romantic relationships. On page 71 of his 2001 book, The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene wrote, "Your greatest power in seduction is your ability to turn away to make others come after you." And that's the advice I have for you in this video. Don't allow your partner to have too much power in a relationship. For example, if you call that man 3 times before he calls you once, maybe you should step back a little bit. If you visit that woman 5 times before she comes once, it might be good you step back a little bit.
If you're always going after the other person, if you're always the pursuer, etc., they start to take you for granted. Sure. If you're always the one calling and texting, you're in their face constantly, thinking that that's the way to make them love you, they take you for granted.
This doesn't mean that you don't love them anymore. It only means you don't want your partner to have too much power, because your entire self can be lost running after someone with too much power. In his 1927 book, Men Without Women, Ernest Hemingway wrote, "The most painful thing is losing yourself in the process of loving someone too much and forgetting that you are special too." Now, let me give a caveat here. Don't ever dream of a relationship where both of you have equal power, because that's simply not possible. In every romantic relationship, someone must have more power. There's nothing bad in your partner having a little more power than you do. What is bad is if the other person has too much power, and that's what you want to guard against. In your business relationships, however, your goal should be to have the most power all the time. While having a business deal, a partnership agreement, or negotiating a contract, you don't want to have the least power, because that might cost you hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars depending on the value of such a deal. Now, how do you get the most power while dealing with others in the world of business? That's what I share with you in this video you're seeing on your screen now. The video on your screen now teaches you the 3 principles of negotiation, which I learned from some of the best negotiators in the world. Click the video on your screen now and see you inside. Thanks for watching.